Hi there, everyone. Welcome to The Daily Gardener. I'm your host, Jennifer Ebling. It's May 21st. Is your rhubarb bolting already? When your rhubarb seems to be bolting too early, ask yourself these questions. Is your rhubarb an heirloom variety or a new variety? Older varieties tend to bolt sooner. Is your rhubarb very established? The older your rhubarb, the quicker it bolts. So if you divide your rhubarb, it will revitalize your plant and will stop that flowering early. Has it been super cold, hot, or is your rhubarb otherwise stressed? That can cause rhubarb to bolt as well. And don't forget to make sure to mulch around your rhubarb to keep it cool as a cucumber. Unlike other bolting edibles, bolting does not affect the taste of rhubarb stems, so you can chillax about that. Now, for what to do with that rhubarb flower? Well, I have a friend who cuts them and brings them in the house and treats them like a cut flower. Here's today's brevities. It's the birthday of Alexander Pope, a gardener poet who helped inspire the English landscape garden. When Pope was 12, he contracted Pott's disease, a form of tuberculosis. The illness impacted his spine. He was a hunchback, and he was only 4.5 feet tall. He had a passion for gardens and garden design. Little details from Pope's garden plans show his regard for ancient Rome as he incorporated both a vineyard and a kitchen garden. Pope's Palladian villa and garden were separated by a road. Pope cleverly used a tunnel to go under the road in order to create private access to the garden from his home. The tunnel became his grotto, a masterpiece of mirrors, candles, shells, minerals, and fossils. He described the thrill of finishing the grotto in a letter to his friend, Edward Blount, in 1725. I have put the last hand to my works. When you shut the doors of this grotto, it becomes on the instant, from a luminous room, a camera obscura, on the walls of which all the objects of the river, hills, woods, and boats are forming a moving picture. And when you have a mind to light it up, it affords you a very different scene. It is finished with shells interspersed with pieces of looking glass and angular forms, at which, when a lamp is hung in the middle, 1,000 pointed rays glitter and are reflected all over the place. Pope's villa and grotto became a tourist destination. After he died, the new owners of his property were so annoyed by the attention that they destroyed both the garden and the villa. Today, plans are underway to restore the grotto to its former glory. It's the birthday of the painter Henri Rosseau, born on this day in 1844. Rosseau didn't start painting until he was 40 years old. He submitted his work to the Salon in 1886 and was ridiculed. Nonetheless, he returned every year for the rest of his life with new pieces. One harsh critic said that Rosseau painted with his feet. Rosseau became famous for his jungle paintings. Although he had never been to the jungle, he had been to the botanical garden at Paris. The place was his muse. Rosseau said, "When I step into the hothouses and see the plants from exotic lands, it seems to me that I am in a dream." For today's Unearthed Words, here's a poem by Alexander Pope on his grotto at Twickenham. Thou who shalt stop where the Thames' translucent wave shines a broad mirror through the shadowy cave, where lingering drops from mineral roofs distill, and pointed crystals break the sparkling rill. Unpolished gems no ray on pride bestow, and latent metals innocently glow. Approach great nature studiously, behold, and I the mine without a wish for gold. Approach, but awful, lo the Egerian grot, where nobly pensive St. John sate and thought, where British sighs from dying Wyndham stole, and the bright light was shot through Marchmont's soul. Let such only tread this sacred floor, who dare to love their country and be poor. Today's book recommendation is The Land of the Blue Poppies by Frank Kingdon Ward. Ward went on 24 impossibly daring expeditions throughout Tibet, China, and Southeast Asia. He discovered the legendary Tibetan blue poppy. Ward's accounts capture all the romance of his adventurous expeditions, whether he was swinging across a bottomless gorge on a cable of twisted bamboo strands or clambering across a rocky scree in fear of an impending avalanche. For today's garden chore, take a cue from Alexander Pope and connect your house to your garden with a path. This is especially lovely if you have a kitchen garden or if you grow edibles. By uniting these two areas, you're conveying the significance of the garden as part of your home. With a series of paths and steps, you can also create offshoots to garden rooms or other distinct spaces. And if your garden is feeling disjoint or too much like an island, a passageway could be the perfect way to achieve connection and harmony. Finally, here's something sweet to revive the little botanic spark in your heart. It's the birthday of Richard Walter Pohl, born today in 1916. Pohl was an expert on the grasses of temperate and tropical America. He was an avid gardener, growing fruits, vegetables, and ornamentals at his home garden. One of the most impactful experiences in Pohl's career was the chance to teach an agristology course in Costa Rica. He lost his heart to the plants and people there. He made over 20 expeditions to Costa Rica, Central and South America after 1966. He botanized in the region, collecting bamboos, grasses, and amassing over 15,000 plants in his lifetime. When Pohl died in 1993, one of his former graduate students observed something uncanny. All the Costa Rican bamboo that Pohl had brought to the university greenhouse was in bloom. The bamboo had grown for years without ever flowering. And like Pohl, they had reached the end of their life cycle. Once bamboo flowers, it dies. Thanks for listening to The Daily Gardener. And remember, for a happy, healthy life, garden every day. The Daily Gardener is produced weekdays in lovely Maple Grove, Minnesota. You can find complete show notes over at thedailygardener.org, and be sure to share the show with your garden friends. You can find The Daily Gardener on all your favorite social media, Instagram, Twitter, and Pinterest, and of course, Facebook. While you're over at Facebook, don't forget to join the Daily Gardener community. Just search for these 3 words, Daily Gardener Community. The group will pop right up and then request to join. Finally, I want to thank my team at Podfly Productions, where my fabulous editor is Eric Begay. Have a great day in the garden, and we'll see you tomorrow.